when you're talking about the promises and load shedding in March, I was wondering, I said, Zach, where is that story coming from? But you know,
I think that arose from that arose from the fact that Kafue Gorge, is it? It should have been up by March.
April.
So that was basically
okay. Fantastic,
great,
beautiful. No, we'll talk about this. We are always happy to come here,
right,
Zach, and thank you very much for the work that you do. And I know you're very passionate about broadcasting and bringing issues to the fore.
Thank you.
You know, as you've rightly pointed out, ZESCO is doing a lot. And one of the issues that has been burning in the public domain is load shedding.
Right.
If you're talking to our brothers and sisters from Eastern Province, they'll tell you we've experienced a lot of floods here. Yeah, there was a lot of rain. If you're in Luapula, the Luapula people will tell you that Lake Bangweuru, you know,
was flooded
totally for the first time in years. And if you're in Northern Province, yes, there've been serious experiences of rainfall, and we have received quite some good rainfall on the Copper Belt as well, right? So there is no denying the fact that this year we have experienced good rainfall in a number of areas within the country.
Right.
Unfortunately, some of the areas are at the tail end of the Kariba Dam. The Kariba Dam is fed from Angola, and as you know, from the plains, you know, the Barossa plains would be amongst them, and so when that water has to come into the dam, definitely. But you agree with us that the 2017-2018 rainy season was not as great.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't as great. So even the previous rainfall before that wasn't as blessed as we have this year. So for about 2 rainy seasons, we've had an experience where we did not have sufficient rainfall.
Right.
And that's had a telling effect, you know, on our water levels in a number of water bodies, which have been compensated this particular year. But if you ask our brothers in the southern part of the country, and I'm in solidarity with most of them in the sense that some of them do not have crops this year. Because there was a drought in certain areas. And then we started receiving some rainfall quite late this rainy season, about February, March. And we had experienced the Chavuma floods. It was in March. Yeah? And so we do appreciate the blessings that the Lord has given us. Now, let me make it very clear, Zach, from the beginning, ZESCO does not manage the Kariba Dam.
Right.
We don't manage the Kariba Dam. That's a fact. So I would like to stick to facts when we have this conversation, so that where we have a problem, we'll admit where we have a problem.
Okay.
Where we don't have a problem, we will admit that we don't have a problem. And where we don't have a problem is on water levels. That is not our domain, it's not our mandate. But it is a fact that the water levels at the Kariba Dam are inadequate. That fact is coming from the Zambezi River Authority, who have the mandate to manage the water levels and the dam itself. And whatever they manage on behalf of the Zambian government as well as the Zimbabwean government. There's a tripartite agreement between the two.
Right.
So, Zambezi River Authority, ZRA, monitors the water levels every day, every minute, every second. And they are the ones that allocate to us the amount of water that we can use in a particular season. For this year, we've been allocated 11 billion. The total is 22 billion divided by 2. ZESA gets 11 billion cubic meters and we get 11 billion cubic meters. Here's another fact. ZESCO, if they decide today, they have the capacity and the power to run the machines at full throttle and the load shedding can end today. That's a fact. But you are given 11 billion. And based on the forecast, we don't know if we are going to have enough rainfall beginning November, December. And I mean, the next rainy season, we don't know if we're going to be as blessed. So we need to count our blessings very well. We can run the machines today at full throttle. And 3 months down the line, into the 4th month, we have to shut down the machines and it will be total blackout. Because of what we have. So anyone can go to Kariba today and it's free. It's open space. So you can't lie. It's not like feedings. I'm not feeling happy today. I'm not feeling sad. Those we can argue. But the fact of going to Kariba Dam and simply see what is there is a fact. Anyone can do it. Aye. So I think we need to get past that. We need to understand the fact that ZESCO doesn't manage the Kariba Dam. We are allocated and charged for what we are allocated to produce electricity. For now, we are told it's not sufficient to warrant a change. Therefore, load shedding continues. That's a fact. I don't know, Hazel, what do you think?
Yes, I think I just want to amplify what John has said, which is very, very true. And I think between John and myself, we have agreed that we need to give people facts. And people should base their arguments on the facts that we are going to give them. And like he has said, ZESCO does not manage the water bodies. They are managed by ZRA, which is Zambezi River Authority. And Zambezi River Authority, in this case, have said, according to their projections, this is the amount of water that you can use, ZESA and ZESCO, for this year, 2020. So as ZESCO, we need to sit down with our engineers, of course, and say, and agree that, okay, with this allocation, how much can we generate? How much can we generate, for instance, per day? And the agreement is that we can only generate 275 megawatts per day from the Kariba, as opposed to the ideal, which should be about 1,080 megawatts. So you can already see the difference there and the constraint. And therefore, when we talk about load shedding, it's something that we do not pride in.
No.
It's something that is a measure that should be taken so that tomorrow people must have power. The economy should continue running. So people need to understand that water management, I think that's very critical, is not done by ZESCO per se, but ZRA. So ZESCO will work
with what is
given.
Right.
Exactly.
So are you saying that what has been allocated so far by ZRA is based on what is there currently?
Yes.
But what is the future like? Because then we are being told that water movement is still ongoing.
It is.
And I mean, do we expect to see improvement? And when is it likely to be?
Beautiful question, Zach. And you're absolutely correct. What we have now, and this is a fact now, it's a fact that, we don't argue with facts. Numbers don't lie. So as I said, we've taken media, we've taken stakeholders to go and see for themselves what is there. On the 17th, I was at the Kariba with Hazel and Tim. We were with our engineers there. The MD, last week, was
with the president.
Anyone can go in and they'll be able to be told, oh guys, the water levels are here. This is where they are. This is where it should be. And with what we have, we need to be very careful in the way we use this water. Otherwise, we may meet the needs today, but forfeit the needs of the future. That is not sustainable, and we can't do that. Otherwise, we'll be irresponsible. So as I've defined, and we've always said it with Hazel, is that load management or load shedding is a very strategic decision made deliberately. Not that we are happy. Zach, we are in the business of making money through power generation and supplying.
Right.
So it is counterintuitive not to produce a commodity that gives you money, right?
Yeah.
So it is in the best interest of ZESCO to produce power and sell. But we are constrained. Now, people ask, and this question keeps coming up. But mwenze kuti wa ZESCO? Why are you not using wind? Why are you not using solar? Mwenze kuti? And we have said, Zach, you and I have collaborated in the water sector.
That's right.
You find that infrastructure development in the country has been constrained from the time of independence. There was no, progressive investment in infrastructure for over 50 years, right? We didn't invest in sanitation or energy. This means that ZESCO has embarked on. And, I want that to sink in.
Right.
From 2011 to date is insane. No one does what ZESCO has been doing because it is massive. Here is a project worth $2.2 billion, right? Being implemented in less than 6 years. The first machine should have kicked in, as we've said,
by
April.
Right.
And without COVID, I'm sure we'd be talking a different story because the supply chain has been affected. And we are sure that at least this year, 1 or 2 of those machines will kick in. $2.3 billion investment. And people said, but in the $2.2 billion investment, Eurobond was 183 million euros. There was change, right? Because you're looking at 2.3 billion injecting 183 million. So this project is huge. These investments are huge. The other investments that we'll talk about later. Yeah. But I'm answering your question. Now, when I say mina akuna mezi kwa Kariba, akupangira malaiti, akuna mdala, ina menda, and that's not a joke. And I say that not with pride and joy, because it's a fact. I have my mother in Kaunda Square. I live in Chalala. You and I live in Chalala. We experience load shedding. It's not desirable. We don't enjoy it. Kariba Dam is like driving from Lusaka to Kacholola. The lake itself. That's how far it extends. It's like driving from here to Choma, or from here to somewhere Kundola Mdala. It's 280 kilometers. That's the stretch of the lake. And the deepest section, maybe you're looking at about 100 meters. And 36 meters wide. Wide. Talking about kilometers. So, when we want to fill up this lake with 2 preceding droughts, and you were continuously using that water without recharging, so what ZRA has been saying is that equally, if we recharge the dam and the lake over 2 rainy seasons, even if we had other droughts, we still can generate power at full capacity for another 3 years. So for now, we are building up what we lost, Zach. That's what we are building up. And the Zambezi River Authority, they said, we can't change this scenario until we see that the projections are looking good for the next rainy season. But once you don't have that information, you don't take a risk. You err on the side of caution, not optimism, when you don't know how nature is going to react. So yes, there have been good inflows. As of last Friday, it was at 30%. And we are appreciating the inflows. So not all the water that is in the dam that we can use for producing power. Not so.
Exactly.
It's what they call live storage.
They call it live storage, yes. And maybe just to add on to what John has said, it's important, I think, for the listeners out there to understand that it's not every drop of water in the Kariba that is used for power generation. Right now, we are saying that the water levels are at 30%. That meaning that 30% is the amount of water that we can use for power generation. The ideal should actually be at 69%. So when we say that the water levels are still low, we know what we are talking about. But I know that if someone went to the Kariba today and they look at the expanse of the water, I mean the expanse of the dam itself, like John described it, it's very wide. And when you look at it to my eye and your eye, there's a lot of water. Yes, but we need to understand that it's not every drop of water that can be used to generate power.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think the perception is on a heavy downpour, just one day. There are questions on social media to say, someone check.
It's the Kariba full.
It's Kariba full.
Until in umbrella. Others they say kulichi umbrella or in a boho Kariba. And you know, Zaki.
So it's important also that people understand what really will fill up Kariba and how long that may take. It's important.
2 to 3 rainy seasons. Yes. But now we already have a good rainy season this year.
Yes.
The
inflows
are very good.
So we're just praying that the same continues.
Let it continue. And we can only measure, because speed of sound is about 330 meters per second, right? But when you're talking about water, I mean, when it's taking 3 months to move from the Chavuma area to come through to the Kariba, people say, so how is it possible? No mulave chabasa. I said, no, masimpevi mdala. It's the way the water doesn't move at the speed of lightning or sound. It crawls pangono pangono. There are catchments in this area. There is need for groundwater recharge, the groundwater recharge in the process. So not everything immediately goes there. And some people think once it rains immediately, so our core message is we are with you. But what is ZESCO doing?
Especially on the alternative.
Yes, what is ZESCO doing? Now, I told you about the Kafue Gorge Lower signature project, Mdala. 750 megawatts of power that will be injected.
Yes.
It should have happened this year. And we are hoping it may happen this year. But again, to be cautious, what when we are promising you, because we have to be very careful. We are saying if that 750 kicks in, you know what our deficit is countrywide? Our deficit is 810 megawatts of power. You kick in 750, you reduce that deficit significantly, almost to about 60 or so. I'm done. So we have a scenario where the investments that ZESCO has put in, over 700 megawatts of solar power and projects that will kick in. Lusiwasi upper 15 megawatts. Lower is about 86 megawatts. The cost of about 173 or 180 million US dollars. Then already the feasibility studies on the Ruapula. People will say, but why don't you go to Ruapula where there's no drought? We're already there. But why don't you do something cascaded? Yes, aren't we doing cascaded?
We are doing cascaded. In fact, the Kafue Gorge Lower will take that form. And when we talk about cascaded generation, we are talking about the reuse of water. For instance, we have, you are aware that we have Kafue Gorge Upper, right?
Yes.
Yes, so the same water that is being used for the Kafue Gorge Upper will be used for the Kafue Gorge Lower. So it will be reused.
From it stage.
Actually, I was going to come in with that question because then there was a perception to say, much as ZESCO is boasting about Kafue Lower, where would they find the water?
Exactly.
Yes.
Because already with Kariba, we have a challenge. So where would they find this? And it's important that you also state what will happen in this case, because then are we guaranteed continuous generation from Lower?
Yes. When we talk about cascaded generation,
that's right.
We are actually saying we are guaranteed because we are saying that the same water that is being used at Kafue Gorge Upper will be used at Kafue Gorge Lower and then back. So it will be reused, will be recycling for lack of a better word.
Okay, yes.
Yes. So we are very confident that once we commission Kafue Gorge Lower, there will be a huge impact in the energy sector in terms of power supply. And you know that ZESCO, our vision is to be the hub of power generation in the region. Yeah, so we know, like Jonas said, there are so many things that we are doing. And what you need to understand is that power generation projects do not happen in a day or two. They are long-term projects.
Zach knows because he covered the Bombay drainage system, which was just 23 kilometers. It took how many years? 6 years.
Yeah,
it's still ongoing.
But again, the burning issue around ZESCO is if we have a problem of water, why are you exporting? Why are you exporting?
Okay.
Like why upasa uziwa munyumba yoli?
So tintis kamba ma facts.
So let's discuss this.
Facts, and we are dealing with facts.
Yes.
So we have
mugulisa branch pa
mulibe. Chamenti kamba ungagulisa minolibe. Yeah. So we have fact number 1, Manzi Alilo. That is settled.
That's right.
Anyone can go and confirm, and they simply sponsor some. Me, I love. I sponsored one student who followed me on social media. I said, we endeko.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one. Number 2, we allocated the amount of water to use per year. So number 3, fact is that we can generate power at 100% today, right?
And run out.
And then be in darkness. From about maybe August to next year. And we don't know what happens next year. So that's why we are very careful in the way we are managing what we have been allocated. Now, he brings in a very interesting element, which I've been hearing. No mugulisa malaiti mugulisa. The starting point is, if you are producing tomatoes, you farm, and you only produce 10, you should be able to account for the 10 tomatoes.
Right.
Yeah. So if I know 10, 2 I gave my mother, 2 I gave my wife, 2 I gave this one, and then you deplete. You remain with 1. Then you can say, where is the 1? I know Inaola, and then you show, right? Yeah. Here, the argument you can take the argument from a number of perspectives. I want to take the first one, and Hazel will pick up as well.
That's right.
The first perspective is people, for them to say you are exporting, then they are doubting the generation capacity or what is being generated. And we are saying this is information that is available, even by independent bodies. You know what is being generated at Kafue Gorge Upper. We're not exceeding 650 megawatts. That can be confirmed independently. We know what we are generating at Kariba, 275. Can be verified and confirmed. So if you look, and we are telling you that our deficit is 810.
Right.
Those are numbers, and numbers don't lie. So then that argument falls off of selling. No, but if you are in Chipata, Zax, if you are in Chipata, and you know that some border towns and border areas, it's easier for Zambia to get some power from Malawi. You know that, eh?
That's right.
Yeah. And in some areas, it's easier for people to get power from Zambia on the border towns into the other. Like we signed an agreement for an interconnector with Angola, right? So you need to have those mutual exchange of power.
What do you mean when you say interconnector with Angola, for example?
So interconnector. So for example, infrastructure that will allow us to either receive or take power to the other side.
Okay.
Yeah. So because our vision, Zax, is not today. Our vision is 5 years, 10 years from now. What do we want to be? As Hazel has ably put it, we want to be the hub where the countries surrounding us will depend on us for power. Now, this load shedding is really a pain for us. It's painful because it is a distraction.
Because you are making a loss as well.
Yes. Our development trajectory is looking ahead. We are looking into the future. That's why even if we have this load shedding and struggle now, we can still put interconnectors because we know that very soon we will be the source of power for the region. We will be. So I always want to ask people who are saying that you are selling power, because those facts are quantifiable and you can actually deal with numbers. I want to see where is power being sold and which country. So if you're in Kasane and you're exchanging, Zambia is actually getting power, for example, from Malawi to service part of Cook Eastern province. We do that. And if the other town needs to get power, it's more almost like balancing out the exchange. And we do that. And we have certain understandings within the SADC region where you can't let your neighbor suffer. If you have a bit that you can share and also get from them, that's an understanding that is simply reciprocal mutuality. I don't know, Hazel.
I think the other point that I would want to share is that Zambia is a member of SAP, what is called SAP, Southern Africa Power Pool.
Okay.
Yes, so we have a regional body in the SADC region that represents all these countries that are surrounding us in the SADC region.
That's right.
And we work with power utilities in the various countries. So we have a power pool where trade is one of the things that happens. You know, trade in power happens. You will recall that some time back we were trading in power with South Africa.
Yes.
So
and even Mozambique the other time.
Yes.
So so the point that John was saying is that we cannot exist in isolation. Zambia is surrounded by 8 neighbors. And we can't run away from it. We need to live with them. We need to join these protocols. We need to work with them. So it's very important that people understand that in as much as they feel that we export power, which John says people should be talking with facts, I think they should also understand that in some cases, we import power. So if you look, for instance, at Chama and Lundazi in Eastern Province, okay, we do not have the infrastructure.
Our cousins.
We do not have the infrastructure yet in Chama and Lundazi to give them power. So we get power from Malawi. Malawi is lighting up Lundazi and Chama at the moment while we are working on the infrastructure. So likewise, if we have infrastructure in a border town, I think it's only wise that we can have that exchange that John was talking about. So there's a balance there.
It's a balancing out.
And you know, when you have a good neighbor, you cannot say, okay, today I don't have power, so I won't give you. And mind
we'll
you,
share the little.
We'll share the little that is there. And you are not giving them for free. They are buying the power.
Just like we are buying from them.
Yes.
So that's again to just statement of fact.
Yes.
You can only give what you have.
Yes.
Even the Bible is very clear, right? You give what you have. You cannot give what you don't have. Here is our generational capacity of what we have now is not meeting the demand. Right? We know our demand and we know our deficit. We know what these power plants can produce. So unless someone's saying, but you must be producing power miraculously and in secret. These are public infrastructure.
But at what capacity would we be producing for us to become a hub in the region?
More than 2003 megawatts.
Is that what you're looking at?
More than 2,000. That's what we're saying. If you're looking at 2,300 megawatts of power as the demand that we have, right? That's the demand countrywide.
Right.
Anything beyond that, I mean, we want to exceed that. So already, you have if you go full throttle at the Kariba, which is 1,080 megawatts of power. Add 750 megawatts of power over the Kafue Gorge Lower and 990 of the Kafue Gorge Upper. The full throttle at the Teji, which is about 120 megawatts of power. Put in now these small hydros, you know, Lusiwasi, put in 86 mega, put in the solar. We are saying what we are investing as ZESCO is not just for the local demand. We are investing to become the hub. That's why we are in a hurry to put in place these interconnectors, to put in place infrastructure for generation, transmission, and the distribution. So when we are saying our focus is not just on today, it's because our vision is very clear. Realizing that dream means you have to invest. That's why from 2011 to date, the massive investments and infrastructure that we have embarked on is insane.
And it's verifiable.
It is verifiable. People can visit Kafue Gorge Lower today and see the kind of infrastructure that is there in a short period of time, because those projects take time. Look at Tanzania is doing a similar one. Over 2,000 megawatts, right? Yes. Ask them how many years it has taken to do that. And then come back to us and ask us how long it is taken us to do what we have done. It's amazing the speed and the time at which ZESCO has been able to put this. We also have the distribution projects. Here, $250 million invested. And no one is talking about them. Right? But these are serious investments. So if you put a portfolio of investments together, what ZESCO is done, it's huge. But the benefits, and we are praying, let this climate issue, let the water levels build up, let's kick in Kafue Gorge Lower. Our people will be smiling because the benefits that will accrue from becoming a regional hub will trickle down to everybody. So we are looking for that, but we are in solidarity. We know Maweo does Pakalingalinga. It's the guys in Chamboli who need to work during the day. We feel their pain, Mdala. And it's when you are at the driving seat and you know the struggle and you can't do anything. You are a father, you want to produce food at home, 3 meals, but what you have can only allow you to give them 1 meal. And to daddy, you know how you feel. That's how ZESCO feels. But if you're a good dad, you project into the future and say, I'm going to diversify and invest. And that's what we have done.
But how are you coping with the demand? I understand that the demand for electricity has equally increased. I mean, we've seen a number of housing infrastructure, for example, coming up all over the country. I mean, how are you coping with such demand? Is it giving you 3 steps forward, and then because of the demand, you get a step back in terms of deficit?
The demand is good. We are already steps ahead. That's why we anticipated this. That's why the investments have come in. We're just now going to start realizing the benefits once, you know, we start inaugurating this particular, you know, Kalambo Falls, Lusiwasi, Kafue Gorge Lower, and all that. Somebody was asking me, but we are only talking about Kariba. What about Kafue? The reservoir in Teji has to fill up. And once it builds up, and then you strategically also begin releasing the water from there to feed the other sections. So that is also strategic decision. There will be a time when we are going to go full throttle. And load shedding definitely will come to an end. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a fact. It will come to an end.
But there's always been a call that it's high time we started looking for alternative power sources, because hydro is slowly failing us and because of the climate change and so on. So how is ZESCO strategically positioning themselves to ensure that we should not be crybabies of climate change?
Ezo will pick up that, but I wanted to answer the question that you raised. Right. It was a good question.
Okay.
The demand.
Yes.
You know that you and I have a responsibility on ensuring that we manage the demand. Right? I'll give you simple examples, and I hope people appreciate it. I was explaining to my mother, and she understood what I was talking about. When you leave your television on standby, it's drawing energy. Right?
Okay.
Your microwave. Ting, 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 ting. And you don't switch off from the socket. It's still drawing energy. Hey. Your geyser draws a lot of energy. Sometimes you have the geyser the whole day. So when the power comes in, it will heat up. You don't need the geyser to run the whole day. You are drawing energy. So the more you are drawing energy in the system, as you draw energy, so you can imagine how many people are connected to ZESCO system. And all of us have put things on standby and we are not at home. We even complain, no, but my units are running out. They're running out too quickly. I said, yeah, because you didn't switch off from the socket. You kept everything on standby. Standby means, you are chewing. You've traveled, Zach, and I know you've been to the US, you've been to Europe. You go into a hotel room. They give you a key where you slot the key into a particular, gadget,
which is basically a switch.
And will allow you to. Then you can switch on power. As you leave, because you don't want to leave your key, you remove the card, and then everything is off. Right?
Yes.
You mean they have a problem of power deficit in America? Why are they doing that? Why are they saving power? There are many benefits to saving power. So even our people in these communities and everywhere, wherever they are, if they rose to the occasion and started saving power, we'll see massive reduction in the demand. And the peak demand for Zambia, it's about 1730, 18 hours to about 2030. That's when you must stove mdala, they are at full throttle. Geysers are at full throttle. 5 TVs in the house, one in the kitchen, one in the sitting room, one in the bedroom, all of them are on and they are running. That means that there's so much demand of power concentrated and the system becomes unstable because everyone is drawing at one go. So we really need also to play a part as citizens to ensure that we save energy. And some say, but ZESCO, you save power. Why are you telling us not to why are you telling us to use gas stoves and all that? It's our power. Timagula. Yes, but there must be collective good so that we support each other and work together to ensure that the distribution of power is economical and socially intelligent.
Yes, I think the message of power conservation is very important, and I think we have been very consistent in sending this message to call on people to be responsible, because we need to save power. And the best way we can do it, like he has said, is to switch off completely appliances that we are not using. We should make sure that they are switched off, even in our offices, because I know that there are certain offices where you are passing in the night, the offices are light. The lights are on all over the place. So we need to start having that conversation in our homes, in our offices, everywhere where we are. We need to start having that conversation. And the other thing that is important, I think, is we need to migrate from using these ordinary bulbs. I don't know what bulbs you're using here.
You can see
these are energy saving. No,
I'm not guilty.
These are energy saving.
At least we are not guilty.
And I'm sure you can attest.
That's right.
The fact that when you use these energy saving bulbs, you are saving, I think the efficiency levels is about 80%.
In fact, they last longer.
They last very, very long. And of course, the initial cost may be high, but you find that you use them for a very long time. So we are trying to drive that message as well, that people in their homes mothers out there, I'm a mother, so mothers out there should send that message because we are with our children. So let's tell them every day that they should switch off, they should learn to switch off appliances in their home. And we should switch to energy-saving bulbs so that we put back that power in the national grid. And also talking about, the demand.
That's right.
When you look at our customer base right now, we are over 1 million in terms of numbers. So we have gone ahead. We are ahead in terms of projects. We projected, we knew that these numbers will grow.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm very confident that despite the growth in demand, once our projects, are commissioned, we should be able to actually swallow up that demand. And that is why we feel very confident to say that we are going to be the hub of power generation by the year 2025, because we know that we will have some excess power, which we can trade.
Zax, we are not worried about the local client in terms of whether power will be available or not. For us, our focus has moved because we know that we will meet that demand. Our focus has moved to the regional market and the region, the neighbors, to be the hub. We need to drive the agenda in the region, and we will drive that agenda.
Great. I have one question.
Yes.
Before we ask the listeners to start pushing in their burning questions.
Yes.
The timing of load shedding. There's this talk that people think that what you should have done is load shed while they are sleeping. Okay?
Yeah.
Load shed in the night and keep power during the day. This is a thinking of an ordinary Zambian out there who says this is how you should be thinking as ZESCO.
Yeah.
Why? What is the strategy around load shedding times?
Or load management?
Yes, load management, for example. Yes.
What is the issue? It's interesting because even my own brothers and sisters would say, load shed when we are not doing anything.
Yes.
When we are sleeping. And, it's also interesting because people need to understand that energy, it's unlike water. Water you can store, right? Yeah, you can store in a drum and use it at a later stage. Or if we had that battery technology where we have the capacity to store the energy, maybe 2,000 megawatts of power for later. And so it's a live system, right? And that live system means that you have to as you generate, it has to be used. There's no way you're going to store it at any point. So you're channeling it. And the channeling of proportionate distribution of that power is critical. It's a decision that is not made lightly. It's a decision where you say, should I give something to the mines? Should I give something to the hospital? Or should I give something to the client? What am I giving to this one or that one? So it's not a decision that is made lightly. It's a decision that is made for the common interest and the common good. Now, here is a problem from the other side. If you're speaking as a customer, number one, you will say, others have power the whole day. We see it. The others have power the whole day. But for some of us, it's load shedding, full throttle, and your neighbor has, you don't have. And I say, the infrastructure is such that sometimes you may not avoid collateral benefit for some areas. So if the power line feeds into UTH, there are some people who have not collateral damage, but collateral benefit. And we don't talk about some of these infrastructure everywhere, but it's true that there are certain decisions that are made to service certain lines and certain areas because of certain factors. And there will be people who benefit. Definitely. And that's how life is. And sometimes it's sad. It shouldn't be. But that's just the reality. So the decisions that are made on load management are very strategic. And sometimes you find that when there's too much demand and people are overusing power. Let me give you an example. Let's say in Matero. At a particular time, if it picks up and the demand becomes so much that the system is going to trip, our guys move in to manage that load, right? And they say, maybe switch off this feeder. And then they switch off that feeder in order just for the good of the system, because we don't want to crush the system just to please people. You are in a position of leadership, so you must make good decisions that should benefit everybody. But at the same time, you have to make tough decisions. My son once fell, and I had to take him to the hospital for, to be stitched. It was quite painful to watch, right? And they say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Are you going to be? I said, I'm going to be here because I love my son. And it's a very difficult decision, painful decision. So it's like making a decision to undergo an operation. You know that the end product is good, but the immediate experience is painful and sad. That's how load shedding is for us. It's a painful, difficult question, but a very necessary decision that has to be done.
Yeah, and maybe just to add on,
yes,
I think it's important for people to know that this load shedding that we have today,
right,
which is between 10 and 12 hours per day,
yes,
is on a rotational basis. So you find that you will not have load shedding at the same time every day because it's rotational. So this area will have load shedding, for instance, from 05 to 12 hours later or 10 hours later. Another area will have it maybe from 11 hours to another area. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not cast in stone that you will have it at 05 hours every day. Where that happens, then it comes the explanation that John brought in about where the system is overloaded and maybe they have to balance the power and supply, between power and supply. Then that happens because then they have to switch off immediately.
That's right.
Yeah, but I think what is important again to agree and know is that it's on a rotational basis. Yeah.
There are areas where we can do better, and we are not saying everything is rosy.
Yes. We're
running a national program that services the economy. I'll give you an example. We have a backlog on connections.
Yeah.
That's a fact. We can't run away from it, right? And the people tell you, no, I paid in 2017 or I paid in 2018 and all that. And our directors, Chimataka and team are looking into it as well. We have our team, senior management team, that is sitting to see how do we dismantle this particular backlog. And I have begun to appreciate that power is very expensive to produce. And, I would again urge our people, those who are interested from an academic perspective or from a social perspective, to visit Mamba Collieries and just have a conversation with them. How much does it take for you to produce this power? And how much would you sell this power in an ideal situation? Let them visit some of the independent power producers. Find out independently, without coming to ZESCO, because people think ZESCO will give them biased information. But let's deal with facts. Power is expensive. That's why our friends have designed even stoves where if you put your pot there, it lights up. You take your pot out, it switches off. Because they realize that power is expensive, and we are not yet paying for what it costs to produce power. We are not. I migrated. I use gas for cooking. And I have a solar system at home. That's what I've done. Because I've come to appreciate that power should generate industry, right? It's not a luxury. That's why during the day, switch off your power because you are paying for it. Yeah. Don't waste your money. So in the morning, 6 hours, switch off your security lights. Switch off the bulbs that you don't need in the bathroom when there's nobody. Switch off some of the appliances that are not needed. And then you realize that the more you switch, you will save. The more you switch off, you will save. Because power is not cheap. As such, we need to take practical steps of ensuring that we save the money that we use to spend. Switch off, you will realize that you save. I've realized that I can save if I use alternative sources. Because if you buy a container of gas for 84 kwacha, that's 5
kg.
Like a 5, it's 84. Now it went to maybe 190 or somewhere there about. A bag of charcoal is about 185, right? Yeah. But charcoal, how long are you going to use the charcoal compared to the gas? I use the gas for 2 to 3 months. So I'm saying we need to make these decisions that are good also for us in the long run. The mines may be able to afford to pay in future. As we move forward, power may become expensive because it's not cheap. If we go thermal, I know people say, do thermal. Just go to Botswana. They use a lot of thermal. How much is it per kilowatt hour? They pay more. So we also need to be alive to that fact. So I wanted to make it very clear.
Great. So I will start taking in questions from our listeners, but I will start with messages. Those that would like to send us questions via WhatsApp, please do so on 0955-221515. You can also send us a text message. I have one here on WhatsApp. It's saying, good morning, panelist. While I'm aware that Zambezi River Authority, ZRA, manages Zambezi River and allocates water as it deems necessary, does this stop ZESCO from rainwater harvesting? Surely this boosts ZESCO. This, I think, meant to say this can boost ZESCO if they were to do rain harvesting in strategic areas, obviously, especially near the dam. This is Vashi Isunge from Lusaka.
Nice.
This can be a boost to ZESCO, I think he meant to say.
Okay.
Right. So
Vashi
Isunge. Let me take another one.
Okay.
Morning, Zach, and the panelist, that is the lady and Dr. Kunda. Just a compliment to Dr. Kunda. Good to hear from him. He enlightens discussions with humor, even at times when we are going through load shedding. That is very painful. I know you will bring some confidence to us as customers by addressing us. So he says, God bless you, sir.
Thank you. God bless you too. God bless you too.
So but just when you meet the you want to. Okay. So I've got another one here.
Yes, sir.
Those people are, this one is probably harsh. Those people are very incompetent. Incompetent.
Yes.
Just to get a prepaid meter.
Yes.
It should take me a year.
Yeah.
Why is that so?
Okay.
Take note of that.
Yeah.
This one says, please, ZESCO, return the machines, in brackets, turbines, back as those you got from China, using a lot of water, hence load shedding. Yeah. So stop blaming Zambezi Water Authority. They have been there for some time now. Why are they difficult now? Are you owing them or what again? I suspect you are exporting electricity and finally reduce on the token you give your employees and reduce on the managers. I think it's management in ZESCO. It's just too much. This is voice of Solwezi. He calls himself.
Okay.
So nice. Are you good to answer this, or I can give you some more?
No, let's start with this first. Let's deal with them. So first one, okay. We said we are not without challenges. I don't know, maybe saying incompetent will be it's an overstatement, but I mean, a client is allowed to label ZESCO the way they deem fit.
The client is always right.
Yes, we need to respect that. Yeah. I did acknowledge that, for example, in connections, there's a backlog, and that's a challenge we've had, and we have admitted, but it's not that we are sitting idle. Management is looking into this, and a plan is in place. So, right. Sincere apologies. Really, sometimes the meter takes long. I'm still, I have property as well. So sometimes, yes, it takes long to get a meter or even to replace one. So the challenges, yes, are there. But what are we doing about them? It's not just about having the challenges. Right. It's what are we doing about them in order to dismantle the backlog, which is about 27,000. That's a backlog. So to catch up, and the backlog arose as a result of a number of factors, which we can topic of discussion. Yes. So okay, that is understood. Now let me address, before I give Ezo an opportunity, the machines that people talk about. Yeah. So again, let's make it very clear. Voice of Solwezi.
Yes.
That's what they say. He knows what I'm talking about. There are about 6 of those machines, right. The turbines that he's talking about. Only 2 were replaced. Only 2. So it's not all of them. So the 4 old machines are still there. And those two that are there kick in on at specific times.
Okay.
So it's very clear. Now, if there are engineers out there, they'll be able to compare.
More efficient.
So yeah, so they say if you compare the machines at the 4 at the old plant, right? So you get a 94% efficiency on the new ones, 94%.
Okay. All right.
And the efficiency on the old ones is 92.5%. These are numbers. Numbers don't lie. Again, I'll give those numbers. 94% efficiency on the new ones as compared to the old ones in terms of turbine efficiency per unit. So 92% compared to 94, meaning the new ones are much more efficient than the old ones. Even in terms of the water discharge rate per unit at 180 megawatts of loading, if you load it there, is about 231 on the old ones. And then you have 212 on the new ones. So the new ones are consuming more less. Efficient. Now, on the logical side, people are saying, no, Vimanzi vipita vambiri. There's too much water that is passing. If there's too much water that is passing, you should be seeing too much water discharging. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no water has not increased downstream. There's no water increase in terms of levels from the discharge side. So it has remained constant. So I think we need to appreciate facts and let's just deal with facts. I've heard this story over and over. I think let's deal with numbers. And those numbers are verifiable. The make of the machines are verifiable. People can look up even on the websites who the manufacturer is, what kind of machine it is, how does it work. There are engineers who should be having this conversation. Some of them should take an opportunity and do masters on assessments of these machines. Do a PhD on assessment of these machines, not just ideological forth. Let's talk facts, and that's what I would like to focus on.
Right, Hazel?
Well, I think John has ably addressed most of the issues.
Rain harvesting?
The rain harvesting.
In strategic places, maybe it would save.
It would be nice to understand how, because, sorry, as Hazel was saying, what do they mean? Because rain harvesting is good for water supply, right?
That's right.
Now you're looking at a massive expanse. What we have contributed as ZESCO is planting of trees. In catchment areas.
Okay.
Yeah, serious plantations in order to mitigate the problem of climate change
yeah.
And also just protecting the catchment areas so that there will be more water and more rainfall, attracted to these areas. That we have done.
Okay.
So I don't know. In
Ikelenge,
where we've done that. So, and the people in Ikelenge will be able to confirm. Yes. So that's how proactive we are in terms of ensuring that we protect this water resource. We're also thinking of collaborating with the Lusaka Water Security Initiative so that there are so many activities along, for example, Kafue River or Zambezi River. Who else is abstracting the water? And how can we work together to ensure that the integrity of the rivers is protected so that we have enough water for power generation as well?
Right.
So
I think there's one issue that was raised on the reduce on
managers and workforce.
On
yeah,
the workforce.
In short, yes.
The workforce ratio.
Yes.
Monapakis.
I think it's when you say that there are too many managers. What do you mean? What is the ideal, for instance? Yeah, so we need to understand that we are talking about an institution, ZESCO, which is very big, very strategic. It's a countrywide, a national institution.
That's right.
So when you talk about having access in terms of numbers of employees, I think it's very important that those people who feel allotted, they should give us the facts on the ground so that we are able to understand. Because when you look at ZESCO, we have power utilities in the region. We have power utilities in all countries for that matter. And I want to believe that even when we come up with our structures in terms of numbers, we do comparisons. We have comparisons that we can, attest to. Yeah. So it's not that we just call people walking on the road to come and join ZESCO.
In fact, there'll be an advert running for some guys in the environment, so you should watch out in the media.
And maybe I must also say that I've seen most of the times, even on social media, how people have started appreciating the quick response that ZESCO, especially where faults are concerned. There's been an improvement.
Thank you.
And maybe also to say, maybe again, you need such a workforce.
Thank you so much.
Yesterday, Zax, I got a call from Chikuni. A father, Elpidius Kaliepe, called me in the night yesterday.
Right.
And I thought, again, what have I done wrong? And then he says, I want just to tell you that the team in Monze responded within 30 minutes of being called and resolved the problem, because there was almost fire in a certain area where there were sparks in Chikuni area, and that is verifiable. So he called me in the night and just to give us that positive feedback. One of the things that we experience and would like people, ZESCO is open, and that's a culture we are trying to encourage. Let people come and see and experience what we do. And what do we receive per day?
Yes.
And then how many people do we have available to respond to the faults? You see the ratio and all that. So in terms of
average per day, like how many cases do you normally have?
There's so many. At the time we were talking about 28,000. People calling the call center and you log them in. We have so many faults that come in. Yes, and now with COVID, we had reduced on the number of young people to support the call center because of social distancing. So people might have experienced in the last 2 months some challenges reporting, accessing the call center. It's true. And that's a challenge that we have now. And we admit, when we know that we have a challenge in a particular area, we admit.
Yeah, exactly.
People do that. They call and they keep calling. Others, they will put their phone on automatic dial. So you find if so many do that, then the system is congested and then people can't go through. But we are working in-house as ZESCO Limited to work on, innovative applications for example, reporting faults, for things like checking the status of some of your things. And very soon people should look out. We should be coming up with a technological advancement in an area where reporting of faults and receiving a complaint number will be automated. So artificial intelligence will kick in. So we have a department being ably run by Frank Chivesakunda, who are looking at how can we respond to our clients within a technologically advanced environment.
Great. So let me take phone calls now on 0955-221515. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Zaki, I've always told you that you are not doing justice to this program because you don't give us much time. Those people from ZESCO should be questioned.
Please.
And they are taking a long time explaining Zaki.
Because that's what you need. You need a lot of explanation.
Yes, but let them give us time also, Zaki. Okay. You're asking too many questions, Zaki.
Okay, please go ahead. I was asking them on your behalf. Please go ahead.
Elvis on the line. That was just on a light.
I know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who do we have? Is that the ZESCO managing director?
This is Dr. Kunda, the senior manager, corporate affairs, and the public relations manager, Hezo Zulu. You remember Kunda when they kuvamanzi kumelenium challenge?
Johnny Lengwe.
Shani wakalamba.
Kunda mulishani.
One time.
Yeah.
Atwamba ole makani basa.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Evel.
Good morning, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vakunda, I've been getting in touch with Mr. Kapata most of the time.
Yes, sir.
First of all, let me report that there is a line just from Sochabe coming to Genia down here.
Sochabe.
And that line, it carries 3 lines. These which run in parallel. Not I am able Munyumba, but men. The supporter, I think the boats have stopped. So the lines are just hanging aimlessly. Yafuno kumia nyachina pinda muka chintambo. So ntambo zija anytime kukabwela wendi zinga kumia nye causing a lot of problems just along Genia Road.
Genia, okay.
Yes. Just when you are coming from Sochabe, you are going to PHI, then you branch off, you road your brother come approach.
Yes, kumtendere oko Genia na hizi ba road.
Yeah. Just there.
Like if you are coming from the roundabout, mwapwida mangena mumtendere kuja kumubwera kumwamba.
Mukibwera ku PHI mafupi chape na ku shopping mall then mwapotete muka mkwela ku maplot where there is a church, that church I think it is Deliverance ukukulina ka ka hardware.
Okay, mutupeleko na ka number
0979 45 98 52.
Thank you.
Yeah. Coming to the topic now.
Yes, sir.
Me, I've been an advocate for ZESCO for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Ask everyone at Millennium Radio, they will tell you. I've been on the defense of ZESCO.
Yes.
I've been also educating people on the importance of saving our electricity.
Yes.
Good.
Starting from when we had the load shedding in 2015 somewhere there, up to now,
yes, sir.
Mr. Kapata knows I've been an advocate for ZESCO, protecting your installations. In fact, even reporting faults in Mutendere and educating people. I think ZESCO, we should give you kudos. And for now, for me, what I want you to do is to get these big politicians, especially politicians who have been misleading the people about the power generation at Kariba, the water levels at Kariba. You get them, the one from UPND, PEP, NAREP, everyone. Put them on that bus which we used to go to Kariba when we were taken to Kariba to see how the generation is there. We were taken there myself. Take them to Kariba and explain it to them so that they stop misleading the people. You asked another person, you heard another person there telling you the voice of Solway that you have changed the turbines and you brought turbines which are sucking water. And you have explained this very well to them. We have been explaining that the time of load shedding was not the making of ZESCO. You are in business and you can't like to be losing millions of kwacha.
Correct.
That time Mamba Coralis was down. And a lot of people knew that Mamba Coralis is one of the independent producers which are supplying power to you. But the politicians twisted the story and told the people that it is not. You are just selling electricity to another country. And you have said you cannot store electricity. When you are producing in Baukuzaki, just give me some 2 minutes, I'll finish.
No. 2 minutes is too much.
Okay.
I'm giving you 30 seconds.
Very soon. Okay. When you are producing electricity, you can't store it. But I would like to commend you and the government of the Republic of Zambia for making sure that you are constructing power generation plants like the Kafueloa, which is almost 100% complete. We have the Rusuwash, which have been upgraded. Musonda have been upgraded. We have the Vic Force. We have a lot of these other, the Rusuwashi, everything has been upgraded.
Elvis.
So for me, ZESCO, you are doing a tremendous job.
Elvis, thank you.
Call me.
Yes.
You call me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's okay. Bye. All right. So I've got an interesting text message here, or rather a WhatsApp message from Mr. Mwanza, or I'm not sure, but it's just Mwanza, whether it's a Mr. or Miss. But this one says, "Good morning, Zach. Why can't ZESCO be split and be run independently? Do we have backlogs of about 27,000?
Yes.
How do you defend such developments if you are efficient? You're talking numbers, and these numbers are sad.
Absolutely.
To hear about.
Yes.
Thirdly, we have been politically enlightened on ground breaking ceremonies for solar generation in the past decade. When, if ever, will these start feeding into the national grid?
Fantastic.
There is a big plant at M-Phase.
Yes.
When is it completed? Your response to faults has improved greatly.
Thank you.
And keep it up.
Thank you.
And this day and age, it's sad we are talking about load shedding today. This is Mwanza, like I said.
Fantastic.
Right.
We cannot agree more.
So just take note of that, but I'll take another call. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Your name and where you calling us from?
Yes, I'm Menyan Njovu, calling you from within Lusaka.
Menyan Njovu.
Menyan Njovu, yes.
Yes. How are you, Mr. John Kun?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you, Amenyani?
Fine, thank you. Madam Hazel, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Menyan.
Yeah, I'm a very proud Zambian. I will speak in my language.
Please,
so
please.
to understand.
Please, go ahead.
Akuna mumuna. Nipe kamunga mkazi.
Yeah, mwawamisha voice kabiri nayo. Ndiye vuto. Ika voice ya koma. Mwatitiola baba. Please proceed.
Okay, that was on the right amount.
Yes. Menyani.
Akunda, tukupe mpana akunda.
Yes, please.
Kuna vamene vina chitika paja ku millennium. Kunali ma assurances, munashika nchito abuno maningi kumanzi. But I mean, a project.
Yes.
My inspectors, they were going around. There were all those assurances. No, the project is going on well.
Yes.
But palasi pakaena kupola ku wa millennium wa bonyola marodi kuno kumtendele. Palasi pakaena terminate contract. So meaning wajawene wezo shita inspect wajawene kutina mapoza. Because ngatiwezoshita inspect following government of Funikochita, this contract was not going to be terminated.
Ijapa festi. Okay.
So manje vapa festival. Ona ni manje water blues kumtendere kali. Ona. So manje ni bwela kuzesko.
Bwela ni kuzesko manje.
Neza nayo opa na ingi.
Abaenda kumirishua. Menyani. Olo ni ukondo menyana.
Okay. So sameti kamba kusko. Sameti pema. Zesko ni masigazi ya mbili maningi ametamvera kuti wa Zesko bachita invest muri ma project ya ma power plant. So manje timu pakuti mwenze kumanzi muenda ku Zesko manje. Why can't you use the same system you use kutosa manzi kukafuel kubweresa mu Lusaka? Why can't you use the same system kuyochosa manzi? I remember the other day in Parliament, Honorable Garinkombo advised Mr. Nkua, our energy minister, to say there's a lot of water in Wapula River there. And the source of Kafiwe River, which supplies water to Zambezi and finally Kariba Dam, is just nearby there. Why can't you just find a system that can harvest water from Wapula River, then to the source of Kafiwe River, so that this problem is cushioned, because is on the Rama Zamana Masenda Zambiri Mandi, but load shedding is sila.
I was saying a sire pakati mami. I'm done, sorry. Yeah.
So load shedding one day at Tibuti.
Yeah, kutiora niga.
10 to 12 hours.
Yeah, baba.
Yes, so
is that
because problem ripo Kariba at the moment, demand. So you could have prioritized most the harvest demands. There are a lot of floods around. Although akufunsani majasumna yanke bwino.
Amenyani.
Amenyani.
Akumverana amenyani. Tiyanka baba. Ndiye nkani tutika mbirane bwino.
Thank you very much. But quickly allow me to take a few more because I've got different platforms where questions are coming. So these are coming from Facebook. And this one is from Dennis Chuala, who says the load shedding schedule is never followed and it's not consistent and makes it very difficult to plan on working from home, especially during this COVID-19. Is it possible to have this schedule followed, or maybe have a planned schedule that can be followed? The second one is from Mavuto Joseph. It says a lot of people have septic tanks at their homes. It's time we taught them how to convert the septic tank into biodigesters. If all of us started using gas for cooking, the saving on electricity will be colossal.
Absolutely, yeah. True.
Right. So the third one, which I will take as the last one at this point, is mines are not operating at full capacity, but power outages is not going down. Do we see ourselves managing this in place of Copperbelt Energy Corporation not in marriage with ZESCO anymore.
Thank you. Fantastic.
So, I think we can
cascade them.
Maybe just the last one. Just the last one from WhatsApp.
Okay.
How much does ZESCO owe its suppliers of power, e.g. Lucemfoa Hydro in total? And when did they last settle anything? I mean, ZESCO is suffocating power producing companies in not paying their invoices on time. They could as well have diversified by now. So this is Chazia Siame in Lusaka.
Fantastic.
So for now, I'll leave it at that. Then please be brief so that we can take another set of questions. So who starts first?
Me, I can just pick one, yes. And Hazel can pick up
okay.
So that I am brief.
Right.
Again, let's talk facts. When you say mines are not operating, so you are saying what is happening in the mines has led to a reduction in the demand. I think that's what the person is trying to say.
But the person is saying at the moment
the mines are
not well fed.
So they are not
even despite having that marriage with CEC. But what more now when you divorce and then ZESCO is proving to be more inefficient as compared to CEC, for example?
No. I think what I'm hearing, Zach, is that the person is saying.
Let me repeat this.
Yeah.
Mines are not operating at full capacity.
Yes.
But power outages is not going down.
Yeah. Meaning.
Do we see ourselves managing this in place of Copperbelt Energy Corporation not in marriage anymore?
Okay. So see the two
okay. Yes, they are.
So the person is saying that the mines are not operating, so the demand for power is not as much. It is low on the mines.
Okay.
So why don't you take that power and give us?
You have more power because
to distribute. That's what they're saying, which is not true, right? Even today, if you look at the News Diggers story, they were threatening. There's a story where they're saying CEC threatens.
And I think I have it here.
Yeah, there is this story from CEC where they're saying CEC to switch off KCM over, and then there is an injunction from
CEC from KCM.
KCM
over the same.
Meaning that the argument that they are not operating and they don't need the power falls off because they need that power. And otherwise, the mines would flood. There are certain things they are running. The marriage, CEC. All I can say is CEC is not producing power, right? They buy from ZESCO.
Yes.
Then they will it. And anakuja
kuma mines.
And then ZESCO gets also for its customers. So there is no divorce here. We are in a period of discussion, right? Because the 25 years where they agreed on certain parameters came to an end. So necessarily when an agreement lapses,
there's need to review.
They need to review
and how the performance was.
And that's what is happening for now. So let's give ZESCO and CEC the opportunity to have a conversation because times have changed. Economic parameters have shifted.
Right.
There are so many things that have changed. So let ZESCO and CEC have this conversation. It's not a conversation that takes a day. It's a conversation that considers a lot of factors and they will be in discussion. The conversation is ongoing. So let them conclude. In the meantime, the mines continue receiving power. That's a fact. There is not a time when we say that we are going to cut power because we are in this marital discussion between CEC and ZESCO. No. So let's give ZESCO the space as well as CEC without prejudicing anything to continue that conversation.
Right. Hazel?
Yes, I wanted to respond to Dennis Chwala. He spoke about the fact that we never follow the schedule.
Yes. And working from home is proving difficult.
Yes. Well, I want to first of all say that we are talking about a system that can change at any given time.
That's right.
So the schedule that we give is indicative. So sometimes we may not follow the schedule to the letter. Because of the, the operations of the system. Like John said, we have peak demand times. So in such a situation, you may find that our engineers need to switch off without warning because of the fact that they need to safeguard the entire system. But really, I want to believe that to a greater extent, we do follow the schedule. But at the same time, I want to say that there are times that we may not stick to the schedule because of certain demands in the system that may not allow us to stick to the schedule.
And we are not denying.
Yeah.
See, where we, like as we're saying, she's saying, he's right, but there are reasons for this. So we're not denying that. It's like someone who said metering and reporting and changing. It says yes, and we are saying yes, we have some challenges. And it says, how did you accrue this particular backlog? You know, these numbers.
And that was from Martin Mwanza.
In a spirit of transparency, we give you the numbers because I like dealing. Let's deal with numbers.
Right.
Let's deal with facts. And we are saying that there was a time there was a World Bank project, and where people were paying a certain amount, which was 700 kwacha for everything, right? And with massive demand. You know, Lusaka has been growing at an exponential speed. And it's so true at the other provinces where people are building everywhere and wishing to be connected every day, right? So the increase, that's why we are saying that in the past years, there was no anticipation of this tremendous growth in the energy sector, in the water sector, in the sanitation sector. It wasn't. So the infrastructure was limited. But now that we are moving at full speed and full throttle, a backlog is anticipated. Just like for water, there are challenges in terms of how many people are connected. For sanitation, it's only 33% of the population. So we are saying that, yes, we have this challenge, and we want to ensure that people are connected. We can do better.
Yeah, but remember, you need to address the issue of obviously being enlightened politically with the groundbreaking or ceremonies of alternative
energy, yes.
And we don't see these coming on the grid.
That's where
so like MPhES you mentioned,
yes, but
you pointed out the MPhES. When is this getting completed? When is it coming on the grid?
And when did MPhES start? And that's why I'm saying that, you know, it's good that we've seen so much infrastructure development in the last few years. First, starting in 2011, 2012, 2014, 2016. A lot of projects have been embarked on.
Maybe we need an update to say, look, this project, for example, MPhES is supposed to take these years to be complete, and we have only done this, and people need such updates. Maybe.
Like, for example, I was saying Kafue Gorge Lower is at 86%.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a fact. We want it to kick in starting this year and definitely next year. Right? So everything may kick in this year, if all things being equal, you know, COVID being managed properly, supply chains coming alive, it may happen this year. But the targeted time is next year, early next year, this should have kicked in. The first machine should have kicked in April. We gave the timings.
Right.
So the Rusiwasi, we have timings to these. There are timelines that are very clear, predictable. But for every construction project, there are variations that take place. There are extensions of time because there are certain factors that just affect construction management. And these are huge projects. So in terms of managing the contractor, managing the project, and managing the supply chain process, I mean, it's anything can happen, anything can change. So you find that the project that was supposed to take 6 months may take a year. Due to a number of factors, people who are in construction management will tell you. That's why there's always that room for time extension, you know, for variations and all that. But we have the timelines, we have the timings. Kafue Gorge Lower, definitely, people can record it in their diaries. It's at 86%.
Let me quickly squeeze in some more calls. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Zaki. Good morning and welcome to Lusaka to me. Good morning, panel.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine. I am the governor of Ntumba Chushi.
Ntumba Chushi.
You are very hardworking.
Yes,
thank you.
I will ask you to be very brief. I've actually just gotten a note from my executive producer, Mr. Mkandawire, saying I stick to 60 seconds each.
Much obliged.
This
is what Elvis was saying.
Please.
On a lighter note.
Right.
The government of the Republic of Zambia has invested so much in energy, ZESCO in particular. We have a problem here. The people that are opposing ZESCO are politicians. That's where the problem is. The people, they do not understand how Kariba Dam's machines operate. That's where the problem is. Panel there. The people that are opposing you are not technocrats. They don't know anything about how to generate electricity. The people that are opposing you are politicians getting cheap politics from the Zambian people. You should be given a space to operate. Honestly, how can a person say that there are so many managers at ZESCO? Those managers, they went to school. Human resources went to school. Human directors doing this and that, they went to school. Give the Zambian people a space to work at ZESCO. Now, I must acknowledge that for the past 8 years of the Patriotic Front, they have invested so much in the electricity in it that even 2020, 2021, 2022, sorry, we will acknowledge shedding. What we are suffering today is an investment for tomorrow. Neither do I criticize you. Neither do I criticize Dr. Edgar Chagwa-Lungu. The man has worked. He should be given a space. When you criticize ZESCO, you are criticizing Dr. Edgar Chagwa-Lungu, who has done so much. When MMD failed for 20 years, we are appealing to the Zambian people to give those gentlemen a benefit of doubt. Allow them to work and see to listen. Even the energy minister, he has worked so well. So to me, ignore those people that are politicizing Sean Tembo, politics. Ignore such people and concentrate on your work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Quickly, I'll take another call. But Doc, you've been reminded by Martin Mwanza that Zach, he is not answering the questions. How many solar plants are feeding into the national grid? Just take note of that. And all numbers of independent projects announced. And then the splitting of ZESCO.
The second one is what?
I think there was a question that we didn't respond to, like why can't you split ZESCO into probably 3: generation, transmission, and distribution?
Okay.
Yeah, and then how many solar plants do we have so far feeding into the national grid? So take note of that. Let me take another call. Good morning.
Good morning, Zach.
Good morning, Dr. Proud.
Dr. Proud.
Aba bali mu studio ni bakunda. Ba Dr. Kunda
na bahezo mkwai mwashibuke mkwai
na bahezo ozuru bako ZESCO
bahezo ozuru mboga bwanyi
nauka mauka
bolela tukuti wali Zambia wa nation kulipe mulozi kulipe mutonga uchimi
muchwani bondate
to come to the topic imo muteweza according your time.
Yes,
now we set in a policy by UPND minister watu akabwera kazaenda kwa China wala kwa America azaita na imo technical class. For example ku Southern China kalipa tiri na Zambezi tizata pinga manzi futi mu Zambezi ijame ngana malire na Zimbabwe akabwele ku Victoria Falls akabwele ku Zambezi to boost more power kumutuma choice ku Northern tina mutuma force futi zafaga futi one distributor kuja tinale kimwero kuja. Our minister want to go to America. Kwa America tuzaenda kwa after taguza ni wonse imwe. Mwatuza kuti no apatiza. So we are going to use Great East Road. Ukutiza using Siavunga Road na Livingston. Minister want to bola pa TV be the government spokesperson akambaje coronavirus where the country is poor. We need to fight this coronavirus na bantu bazipeza nchito. If Kaunda was only talking about our minister for information anali live for ZMB bamena kama vitu vimoja na vimoja bamena bangu bajitaru kirusha. So what are we going to learn if you are in red shed so near manifesto ya UPND
ziko
so to that thing show kuti manzi kukariba kuja chichite another boss tizamba kulindira mvura yes Kimweru inzura daily ya make sharing na Congo. If we can tap oil from Tanzania bwera mu dollar tizapeleka ni jani kutatinga manzi biti kwapeleka kukariba tizapeleka using a Great East North. So what we want is serious government. For example, that it has a ZESCO bababa materiala bazali piramala ikiwa cheaper at the end to go to that cheaper because what baba shop wasaruna zaka na moma right now no any Zambia napanga drama Zambili because manyumba mbili muyangane makompani kwati kunu quality kwa George out maybe 5 at na malai the rest ni yakolo way but it totally depends a challenge. Battery yadura futi tizammagira sure kuti mata battery sekuliwe not vantu vazigula 5 kwacha battery mozi muzambia what is still independence government spokesperson watu azambo kama vita
Zikomo what Dr. Proud.
Wonderful.
Let me remind our listeners that we are live also on iWave FM radio, that is on 90.1 FM, and iWave is in Chingola, covering Mufulira, Rufanyama, Chidilabombwe, Chambishi, and Kalulushi, and we are also live on Muchinga radio in Muchinga province on 88.1 FM, covering Chinsali, Isoka, Mafinga, Mungwi, Kasama, Shuangandu, and parts of Chama. And don't forget that we are also live on our Facebook page, that's 5FM Radio Zambia, and also on Speech Analyst Facebook page. That's Speech Analyst on the Facebook page. All right, so my executive producer here, Mr. Mkandawira Thomas, has given me some more time. Okay. So instead of ending at 11:30, he says we can go on until 11:55.
Thank you. Fantastic.
So that means that we can take a few more calls. Yes. Good morning. Hey, my boss.
Iyi program nezo nayamba kuinvera pakiyandu sona barankala business itakuwa naijiriza ko pati program nene mukabani ya Maraiti na Manza ikona
Maraiti manzi yeve tikamba kukariba
so bakuru batu kamba kirungamo
bambo
tukenza mibazo ko muteza manje program nene inkala hapo cha nyauti ma politics yange na maningi like company aba Zesco kala tinyoba Zesco ba kupasa nche chance kuti matrix mukenzera kodiri izati pia otherwise into zingende bili.
Okay.
Manje problem ni ndio tuzote zati ime mukapanga plan abwera minister kuja bamuza tenda ucheso Marunda Maraiti mwaona so tukati watu pa ground pa manje ni babu tika post like munga hapa manje kumene mnarundira Maraiti ba Zesco zato galme pe unit ni wani kwachi mwaona kapena pe unit ni wani kwachi so mutaka kuleja space jayo gulira mwija akaenda ogula futi second maybe ni 100 kwacha mbo yampa 30 50 kwacha mwaona so pezeka tife pa ground wo vuli na mapolitician na kupata kwa chance mapangira mweka chema program zikilita kale mute kwa singa tungo bela palejo tungo sasa ya gorunga ikamauti maguti imewazi kama funiko sebengera cha gorungo ni kunkala paeka uko na na program yake unaona ma program yetu kuma nayo cha gorungo tayaona azwa cha doja uti alupanga drama kuja na imempanga drama ukiweza muliso watu wao vutika baada kuja maeti leve ni free bakungo pasi wa maeti maybe 1000 units ya mahala mwaona basi sautu peze tena ngo 50 units paka tivutike mkuru wanga maybe wabutoka pena ni tomato ni guleko tumaleti kutibana baberenge bi mwaona so ingewazi ko ngati wabikira upasani madirection no Tanzania so mwaona uti mapolisi yaba ntubenangula kimunga hivi takuza ngo mcha mwenye akambia tukatoa munga pumping ya maji kusekera kapeni kugande river peleka kuchani kariba jamkuti is very very easy mani ngati mwaita invest manzi ngula ima loko but manzi ina kwankala wasted but kuti mwaita invest kapena invest hizi baka program mwankala bani kapena maplana mwankala bani but try all means ngati ngula ya bwela mwateza wewe uti manzi mwaita invest yakati mwaita deveti aenda kuti aenda mkaliba that was my program yetu kumanayo maybe at least angaise kwata isako reduce hii ngola in future maybe zaka pezeka uti maybe the whole silo kwa ngola manye ni zaka tie nyimbo tie Maraiti ndio kama kwanga bakuru watu silo ngese na ziko
mkwambili I have a quick text message to squeeze in. It says, good morning, Zach and the panelists. I'm enjoying the program.
Thank you.
It is quite informing and educative. My question is that the PEP president, Mr. Sean Tembo, has accused you, Zesco, for exporting power secretly for your personal benefits, and that you are too incompetent. What is your take on that, Zesco? I want your serious response on that right now. This is Lawrence. And then we've got another one. The discussants mentioned on planting trees in Ikelengi. Sorry, that information is not true. Zesco just planted 500 to 1,000 plants. That is a joke for a company like Zesco. let them do a proper program. That one was done by community. Let them fence their source and promote total protection as well. Total protection. This is Uncle Harrison in SOS. So that's the one. Uncle Harrison is the one sending the issue on the number of trees that you've planted.
So we should help him get facts.
Okay, so let's respond to what we so far have.
So again, we always deal with facts. We don't know where he's getting his facts. So Ikeleng, it's about 10,000 plants. Yes.
Planted.
I don't know. The 1,000 is talking about maybe a different project which is not related with us. Okay. But ours is 10,000. Then the Lusaka ones was about 7,000. So they were looking about 17,000 total of the plants.
Okay, so him is mentioning the ones that was done by the community.
Yeah, that's a community. That's a different.
It's the different.
Yeah, it's different. What we did is 10,000, and we applaud the community for doing what they did.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever they are doing there, they should keep it up.
Away from ZESCO.
It's away from ZESCO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So we have a serious corporate social responsibility program,
right?
And our contribution to environmental support is quite critical.
Okay.
So we do appreciate what they are doing, but they shouldn't mix it with what we have done as well. But we applaud their efforts. Now, the man talked about the solar ones, and I was going to say that there were, in terms of the energy policy for 2008, so renewable energy.
Right.
First and foremost, hydro is our mainstay. It's clean energy.
And, yes, it is.
This climate change withstanding, my brother would be looking at what we have, and our target is about 3,767 megawatts of power. Our demand currently is about 2,300. So we are truly en route to becoming the regional hub. But there are a number of projects, like the M-Phase one has not yet started giving us into the national grid. So, but it will kick in, right?
Do you have any time frame?
We can share the time frame, but that's basically done.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's targeted within a year or so.
Right.
Yeah, but the others are feasibility the projects. For example, Muchinga, and those are going to be huge projects that are at feasibility stage. Just like the Luapula Hydro project as well, its feasibility. That's going to cost about $3 billion. The Batoka one is another $4 billion feasibility investment. But I can give you some of the numbers. Like recently completed would be Lunzua is done. Then Musonda Falls is another one. So we'll be inaugurating. We are now going to inaugurate these, but the works now are done. Iteje Hydro was done in 2016. So, and then Shiwangandu. So the number of projects that have been invested within this short period of time, I talked about Lusiwasi Lower, which is about 86 megawatts of power and is expected to kick in 2022.
Right.
Kafue Gorge Lower Hydro is the one that we are targeting again 2020, early 2021 to kick in. Chishimba Falls is another project targeted for 2022. So in terms of projection and the timelines of the investments that ZESCO has embarked on, there is no discussion because the facts speak for themselves. Someone asked about export of power. I think we already addressed that question. And what we were saying is that you can only export what you have. And it would be good for people who have alternative information that there is so much power to use the channels that are available to avail us that power so that we can redistribute. If you love this country, contribute to its growth. So let them give us where that power is that is being generated and where it's being generated from, and then it can be redistributed. There are independent power producers there who are selling power, and we are working with them. So let's stick to facts and stick to numbers. That is what is going to help the conversation going forward.
Heather, you wanted to make any response?
Well, I think
there was a question that was raised that a politician accused you of secretly exporting power for your personal benefits.
Yes, I think we from the beginning of
we did talk about it
from the beginning of this conversation.
Yes,
we have said that let's talk about facts. So if this person is saying that we are secretly exporting power, I think it's important that the facts are brought to the fore, so that it will be easy to respond to facts. So numbers. as the accusation sits, it's almost
it's more ideological.
Exactly, it's very difficult to respond to it. Yeah. So for me, I would like to urge, the person involved to give us facts, which will be very, very good.
Where are you generating that power from?
There was a comment on Facebook,
and Zach, when you talk about exporting power secretly. How? How? Because this power must go through a
it's not like you carry it in a car, right?
Exactly. So we need to have all those facts before we can actually respond.
There was a comment on Facebook because ZESCO is always pleading with the consumers out there, the customers, to save power and use alternatives.
Yes.
There was a comment on Facebook, the gentleman who was saying we can use these septic tanks to convert into
biodigesters.
Yes, and then I mean, any plans that ZESCO would embark on such a program or a side program in terms of trying to obviously meet certain demands, or I mean certain reserve in terms of power, because you're always asking people to save power, to switch off and use alternative energy. I mean, for you to suggest alternative energy, do you have any plans of actually getting into such a project, for example?
You'll be looking at what you want to generate out of it. How much power do you want to generate? Already, you don't get so much from solar, right? As long as the sun is there, you get quite some good. But the battery technology is not very good. I wish our engineers, young people, can be thinking about how to come up with a perpetual motion machine. With a perpetual motion machine, these issues of power will simply disappear. Fuel will disappear. But we don't have that technology. And
but biodigesters
are very good. But how much are they? Did you mean that we want to produce power from that?
No,
or do we support
alternative for gas? I think for cooking purposes.
People can do that,
That's what this text was talking about.
I know that if you go to David Livingstone School here in Chazanga and Reach Out School, they did develop the biodigesters, for example. And that's what they're using for cooking for the kids in school.
Oh, okay.
That's a very, it's usable, it's practical. Dr. Ngoma in Palavana basically survives on biogas. So yes, it's an alternative form of energy that people can explore, and we encourage entrepreneurship in that area.
In that direction.
The reason we continue asking people to use alternatives is that, energy or electricity is to drive industrial action and economic activities. So, and it's not cheap. So we also think about the power being expensive. And because it's expensive, people must use sources that are clean and safe. And we are asking them not to congest the system and to pull the system down at the same time forking out a lot of money from their pockets. So we are a considerate company when we tell you use gas, because gas is cheaper than electricity for cooking.
Exactly.
That's a fact. So we are not running away from facts. What we are running away from is innuendo and the peddling lies. That we're not going to do.
Right.
We'll stick with facts. If we have a problem, like we've told you, we have challenges on the backlog. We will tell you that we receive maybe 2,000 calls and we only attend to about 2% in the COVID era for now. And we have certain challenges and we agree, but we have a plan on how we want to resolve those challenges. And that's what we are saying to the client. And we are saying, let's work together. This is your company. We say, let's buy Z, support Z.
I think there was a text message on WhatsApp which says, and this person says you still haven't answered the concerns. I think this was the issue of ZESCO suffocating power producing companies for not paying invoices on time.
Like which one?
And I think he mentioned that how much does ZESCO owe suppliers of power, for example, Lusemfua Hydro, in total, and what when did they last settle anything?
Okay.
I think those issues of now accounts and all.
Exactly. So I have to get the number accounts and all those and the relationship between those.
Details,
But here is the question: when was that person at Lusemfua? And why isn't Lusemfua producing, for example, power or Copperbelt Energy? So those are facts. The information is there, and people can actually get that info about Lusemfua in terms of their operations by visiting them. So find out what is happening at Lusemfua, because they still can produce power, right?
Right.
So the question is, are they producing power? If they've been producing power and all that. So when we go
what's the state of affairs in that case?
They have a PR person.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be able to speak on their behalf. They can speak for themselves.
Okay.
They are adults.
So let me take another text. Let me take another text. Zach, good morning. How is the panel going to explain this? I pay first for installation and somebody pays after I have paid and is connected. Isn't that unfair? I go back to complaining to ZESCO. I'm told no materials are available. So no materials for me, but for those others who paid after me have materials. Again, we don't have the name of this. Please, when you send us a text on WhatsApp, please include your name.
Do they have a number?
Yes, there is a number. Let me just alternatively check for the name again. This should be okay. No, let's. I'll leave it there. So you take it. If they will send us the name, that's fine. So you take that question. I'm taking these as our last because we should be winding up soon.
No problem, sir.
I'm not satisfied with the answer on rainwater harvesting. Is ZESCO aware this is what goes on in Brazil, to name but one country, and they actually doing quite well. This is Vashi Isunge. Again from Lusaka. Remember Vashi Isunge brought in the issue of if we harvested rainwater, that would be helpful for ZESCO. And he cites that this is what happens in Brazil, and can't we copy and paste?
And my brother, that's what we've been saying. There have been a lot of alternatives and discussions around where you get the water from. The Kariba Dam is a form of harvesting, isn't it? That's an artificial, I mean, it's man-made dam. It's man-made in view of being able to store water, as much water as possible that can be used for power generation. Iteji Dam is a form of harvesting. That's why even now we are allowing the water to accumulate, to beef up, to charge, and once it reaches a particular level that now we can cascade. Then we can pump out that water, run it at Iteji, then run it subsequently on the other power stations. So we understand the issue of harvesting water, and then people have been talking about connecting Luapula to Zambezi. There are a lot of factors that we need to do, environmental factors that you have to deal with. There are socio-economic aspects that you have to deal with before you disturb a natural system. And then divert it. So those are studies, those are considerations that are under discussion. But harvesting water means that the features, topographic features, must be suitable to support the same harvesting. So that's exactly, we are agreeing with the person. We are not disagreeing. It's only that the area where we've been harvesting, because if you harvest for 3 years and the Kariba Dam is full, you can generate power for 3 years. Even with droughts, at full capacity. But it's only that we depleted due to previous droughts. So we are now harvesting. That's why that chief executive officer from the Zambezi River Authority was saying, the inflows are good, but we have to allow the reservoir to build up from all the catchments. So whether he's asking that we should now find a way, someone actually jokingly said, allow Zambians to, to get water and to go and pour in the Kariba. So all those are simulations that we think about, but you can only do what is practical.
Is Kariba in any way strategically positioned?
Yes.
That it would, naturally take in water from all corners of the country?
Not all corners of the country.
Okay.
Not the eastern part of the country, not Luapula. It is strategically on a particular topographic arrangement that it can. That's why it's not every water body that can produce electricity. It's not. Otherwise, would have plenty. It depends on the way water would be able to be harvested and used at a particular height in order to fall and push the machines. That's why it's not every water that is in the Kariba that you use for generation. The head, what they call, the height, so that when the water falls and can push into the turbines and to be able to move those machines. So yes, Kariba. That's why we have feasibility studies. But before Kariba was constructed, a lot of studies went into it. That's why we have feasibility studies on the Luapula River as well, to understand and find a way to maximize the resource for generation of power. Siemens yonse mdala memungapangire light. In Tonga we say Joro Jibomba go dinkira. So what we are doing is we are dinkiraring here to find a way to ensure that moving into the future, we can generate enough power for the country, and then we can become the hub for the region.
So there's a question that is there a possibility of harvesting anything from Luangwa River?
then you bring it back to Southern Province. The energy that you would need to pump the water from there, you better simply give that energy to consumers. Someone was telling me that when the water is used at Kariba and it goes on the other side, why don't you pump it back into the Kariba so that there is no loss? So then I asked him, I said, how much energy will you need to pump the water back into the dam after you've produced? So you produce 20, you use 20 to pump back, you go back to 0. So, I mean, guys, we have serious engineers at ZESCO who think through. We have hydrologists, we have engineers specialized in generation, engineers specialized in transmission and in distribution. We have environmental experts, people who sit. And people, you know, our MD is an engineer who's worked for ZESCO for years. So it's not like he just fell from somewhere external. These are people who understand the business of generating, transmitting, and distributing power.
Yes. And maybe, Zach, there was a question on the connection. I think someone raised the issue.
The issue of someone paid after me and they got connected with me. There are no resources.
No, but I think what people need to understand here is that there's what we call standard connections and non-standard connections. So there are certain connections that will require more material than others. Others, you just go and, here you touch here and there and you can connect. But there are others that you need to, buy certain materials, transformers, for instance.
But maybe this one is probably referring to a neighbor. Because this person is coming out like they saw that never
exactly.
You see, so it's coming out like their neighbors.
Yeah, but I want to just clarify this point.
On the general picture.
The general picture. Great. That sometimes those that have standard connections, their connections can be done faster than those that have where we need to buy more material. Yeah. So I think it's important that people understand that.
And I've heard this issue of my neighbor is connected, I'm not connected. And always when you see something that you are not sure about and it's suspicious, feel free to reach out to ZESCO. We have integrity committees. We have teams where people can flag certain things that they've in a security department. So they can come and anonymously simply flag. We won't be able to reveal their names, but to understand. Now, assuming you applied at the same time or the other one applied earlier than you, I don't know how you get that data. So there may be differences. But it's true, that particular sentiment is there in the public domain, and we need that feedback. And we need also to continuously assess amongst ourselves to see, is there credibility to some of these issues? Yeah, there may be suspicion of corruption in certain areas. And if our officers are involved in any of such activities, we have a robust system for penalties and charging people. And please, clients, don't pay anyone. When you've applied for a service and you are waiting that we are going to service you, do not pay anyone in the field. Do not entice field workers or ZESCO employees with money. Don't. Because you've paid for the service and ZESCO will connect you. Simply join the queue and we ensure that we continue also improving on service delivery and customer care. We will continue doing that.
Doc Kunda and Hazel, thank you very much for coming. It was a pleasure. We've done 2 hours of talking, but it was necessary. Yes, it was necessary, and please continue doing a great job as ZESCO, and we can only wish you all the best, and we'll give you the much needed support.
God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hazel. Thanks. Well, listeners, thank you. That's all we had for you. Thank you for listening and for participating. For those that called and sent in messages, we'll certainly be back, God willing, on Tuesday for the Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue. Thank you for listening and goodbye.
Tune in next week for another edition of The Burning Issue, and thank you for your participation. Democracy and freedom of expression is about tolerating the views that you don't like from someone you might not like. Hey, hey.
mushe kanzima kamushe tifuna muziki ya mushe ona watainila
Musha Meal Meal, available in Pick and Pay, Spar,
Melissa,
Game Food Corp,
and all quality retail shops.
Musha Meal Meal, smooth and tasty.
Buy Musha, eat Musha, you Musha.
Hey, hey. Isetimatia mushe kanzima kamushe tifuna.
Life is in the